NewThing is a catalyst for movements of reproducing churches. There are several ways you can get involved. First, we want to begin a conversation with you about how you can plant a reproducing church. You do not want to do this on your own. Let us connect you with others who want to start reproducing churches. NewThing is a place where you can experience a culture of reproduction. Maybe you should do a leadership residency, or possibly you're planning a church. Together, let's start a movement. NewThing wants to help you start your church, and the next one, and the next one.
My name is Cathleen Rotich, and I serve with NewThing as the Global Residency Champion.
I'm Matt Millar. I am the Regional Director for Sub-Saharan Africa. I want to talk to those of you today who are interested and thinking about being a global leader.
My own story is that I knew I was called to Christian ministry, to full-time Christian work, when I was a student in India. I didn't know how that would be realized. I didn't know where I needed to go to apply to be a pastor. And by the way, I didn't think it was to be pastor. I thought that was too big and too out there for me. And so I knew I carried something in my heart, but I didn't know where to go and do this thing that God was calling me to be a part of.
I was a global resident before we knew what a global residency was, before there was even a term for it. I finished a master's. I worked for a church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They had a connection with a church in Nairobi, Kenya called Nairobi Chapel. So I went from Elmbrook Church in Milwaukee to Nairobi Chapel in Nairobi, Kenya for what was supposed to be 1 year. And it's a leadership development program that they call Kanara. And so it's taking these young leaders fresh out of college and molding them and shaping them and helping to draw out the potential in them, and then setting them loose to the world for the cause of Jesus Christ.
And so I'm challenging you and saying, these people that are under you, we're encouraging you to tap them and tell them, there's this gift in you. Have you considered being part of a leadership residency? Have you considered, for those who are already in your system or those who have already served for 3-4 years, have you considered planting a church in Lisbon? Have you considered planting a church in Geneva? Have you considered planting a church in New Delhi? And probably that passion is somewhere inside and they're just wondering how? Where do I sign up? Who do I talk to? And as you begin to talk to them, you give them that vision, that possibility, and they begin to think about it.
For you guys who are thinking about going, as you're listening to this, as you're processing, as God's speaking to you, just do it. The one thing I always tell people when they're, especially young kids, young guys coming out of college, you will never regret something like this. It can only build you up. It can only draw you closer to God. You're going to know God in a way you never could have experienced in your own context and culture.
So we are looking for global residents. We are looking for high capacity individuals, men and women who are capable of doing great things, who are courageous, people who would give themselves to 1 year of training, and we train them with curriculum, through coaching, and through cross-cultural training, so that they could plant in a gateway city around the world. Those are the kind of men and women that we are looking for.
So if I could say one thing to you, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Because if God's put that in you, He has so much for you when you step into that space. If you don't go, you always wonder, oh, what if? But when you go and you step out in that, it's like, wow, God, you had so much more for me. You literally, my life is something beyond I could have ever asked or imagined. And when we do that, when we take that first step, He opens up another door for another step. It opens up another door for another step. And our life takes on a whole different look and meaning and understanding than our own plans. And I like to plan. And so He has so much more for you. So just go, do it, enjoy, have a blast, and let God take control of your life.